I think that this is a response to Operation Spiderweb, the attack that took place on June 1st. Russia has really ramped up that, okay, they're gonna finish this militarily. There's no intent to negotiate. Negotiating into this is just it's a Western fantasy, and I think the Russian leadership recognizes they have no alternative but to crush Ukraine militarily on the battlefield, and by extension, crushing the West. So, the absurdity of Donald Trump said, "Oh yeah, he's going to send 10 missiles, 10 Patriot missiles to Ukraine."
Hearing Larry lay it out, what jumps out is the gulf between Washington's sound bites and Moscow's resolve. When a side keeps repeating no negotiation while moving fresh brigades forward, that isn't a bluff. It's a statement of capacity. 10 Patriots make great TV, but they don't shift a war that's become industrial in scale. History says these conflicts end only when one army physically can't stand in the field anymore. Sadly, we're not there yet.
The Russians have a decided advantage with respect to drones and missiles. And then on the ground, down in Zaporizhia in particular, in the south, and the Russians are advancing rapidly. They're taking 2 or 3 towns a day. The same in Donetsk. They're
2 towns a day may look small on a map, but it signals momentum. Once an army finds rhythm, defenders burn reserves faster than they can replace them. A lesson from Kursk to Fallujah. Kiev's friends talk factories, yet new missiles take quarters, not days, to roll out.
Forming a big cauldron or pocket around Pokrovsk. And then Pokrovsk, once they take that is going to basically be like unlocking a door. And it's going to open the way for more rapid advance to finish the conquest of Donetsk and the expulsion of all Ukrainians. And then up north in Sumy and Kharkiv, the Russians continue to advance and push out, trying to create a buffer zone. Ukraine's in trouble. That's the simplest way to put it.
When the man on the ground says Ukraine's in trouble, that isn't punditry. It's the hard math of shells and manpower. Western headlines speak in hopeful hypotheticals, but Russia's drone swarms now launch weekly. Until that tech gap closes, talk of new counteroffensives is just talk.
And yet, despite the situation on the ground militarily, you've got Europe still beating its chest, trying to say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna line up and support Ukraine." If I read the article right today, Ukraine just signed an agreement with, maybe it was the UK or France. They're going to produce 300 air defense missiles. Ooh, that'll last, a couple of minutes. And so Europe seems to be becoming, the longer this war goes on, Europe appears to become more bellicose and more threatening of Russia. And yet Europe is completely incapable.
Europe's bravado feels like 1914 telegrams. Big on courage, short on cartridges. Standing toe-to-toe demands magazines, spare parts, and public tolerance for casualties. Brussels has none in surplus, which is why Moscow's timetable, not NATO communiques, is shaping events.
Donald Trump wants the Nobel Peace Prize, and so he wants everybody to do what he wants. He's not listening to Russia. Since we're now more than a year ago, June 20, I guess it was June 14th, 2024, Vladimir Putin spoke to the foreign ministry in Russia. Laid out
Putin's June 2024 speech keeps aging like concrete. Each month the terms harden a little more. Ignoring them doesn't reset the clock. It just means the negotiating table keeps shrinking. Smart diplomacy starts with listening, not daydreaming about Nobel Prizes, because battlefield facts write the fine print.
Clearly what the demands of Russia are. Now, those demands actually are getting a little tougher now. There was a point, we go back 3 years ago, Russia was willing to cut a deal with Ukraine that would have allowed Donetsk and Luhansk to remain as part of Ukraine. They would have had special protection. But now, no, Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, Kherson, those are permanently part of Russia. That's not going back. And Russia is every place where Russian boots are on the ground, they're going to keep that territory too, which means Dnipropetrovsk, Sumy, for starters. So Trump's just not listening. You know, Putin said it, Lavrov said it, Rybkov said it, Peskov said it, Maria Zakharova said it. You know, it's been repeated over and over and over and over. And Trump's just refusing to listen. You know, they think somehow they can persuade Russia to give up territory or to retreat. This is very, very simple.
Asking a side that feels it's winning to hand back land is like offering a boxer on offense a draw, no incentive. Unless Kiev's supporters shift the balance fast, Moscow will keep banking territory. On battlefields, possession, not press releases, dictates leverage.
We're the only country in the world that has carried out the invasions of 5 invasions of other countries over the last 60 years. Only one.
Larry's reminder that the U.S. has launched 5 major interventions in 60 years slices through our favored narrative. Overseas, people don't grade intent, they tally impact and rubble. Until Washington owns that record, pleas for restraint will keep landing flat, no matter how earnest the messenger.
The potential for war breaking out, in particular between Russia and NATO, is high. Up in the Baltic, these different European poodles are trying to interfere with Russia's ships. There's tankers coming out.
That Baltic tanker drama is a 21st century Cuban Missile Crisis in miniature. Commercial hulls, not nukes, but the same hair-trigger uncertainty. One bad radar read and Brussels could be asking for Article 5 instead of cargo insurance. Mixing economics and gunboats is always combustible.
So Russia's now having them escorted by military vessels. The chances of a confrontation, an accident taking place, and then where a hot shooting war starts, I think it's significant. It's high. You can't always count on people doing the right thing, the smart thing.
Betting on people will do the smart thing is a shaky strategy. Sarajevo, Baghdad, you name it, crises often ignite because someone panicked. Guardrails, hotlines, even boring diplomacy save lives precisely because humans don't always act logically when the pressure spikes.
How influential is Turkey together with the United States on the policies in Azerbaijan and the way that they would behave?
Well, no, I think Turkey is enormously influential in this and that is collaborating. I mean, Erdogan wants to be the man. He wants to be, the new sultan, if you will, of the whole area.
Erdogan's bid to play regional kingmaker turns every border into a bargaining chip. Ankara controls energy routes, grain corridors, and drone exports, so Moscow and Brussels both court him. It's three-way chess where each pawn is a real town, easy to topple, painfully slow to rebuild.
And to that end, Azerbaijan's been playing along. But Russia still has some resources and ability to exercise some influence in there. Aliyev is playing a very dangerous game, and if Russia's not going to permit Aliyev to create a real threat to Russia, they'll take him out before that. And in the same way that the United States wouldn't allow that to go on in Canada or Mexico, just from self-interest, self-protection, self-defense. But clearly, they're talking about this an east-west economic road. I forget the particular name of it, that will flow through Azerbaijan, wind up in Turkey, go through Armenia, and Armenia is being left out. I mean, Armenia is basically being told to sit down, shut up, and take what we give you. So there's still potential for a lot of further conflict. And then on top of it, what Azerbaijan did in facilitating Israel's attack on Iran, there's no doubt about that. So we'll have to wait and see what it's one more thing on Russia's plate that has to worry about.
Larry's closing thought drives it home. The flashpoints are multiplying while serious diplomacy stays stuck in neutral. Unless cooler heads intervene, 2026 could open with more than one war nobody wanted but everyone saw coming. The harsh lesson for voters and leaders is that managing decline responsibly beats pretending we're still in an era of cost-free intervention. Humility, not new slogans, might finally pull us back from the brink.